Welcome back to Luxury Cruising. I'm your host, Crystal Sodaitis, and I am so excited. As I alluded to last week on the podcast, I have Joy who's going to tell us about what has to be the pinnacle event of cruising for this year, and that is the inaugural sailing of Four Seasons Yachts. She's here to tell us all the inside scoop. Can't wait to dig into it. Joy, please tell the audience anything you want them to know about you.
Well, I am a heavy traveler, like, that's all I like to do. I create a lot of high performing luxury content on Instagram mainly, but on TikTok, it's more for the everyday people that I kinda go for, but my life just generally revolves around traveling. I've been to 52 countries so far and a little over 100 cities. Also, I was just featured in USA Today as well.
Awesome. Wow. Can't wait to hear more about your travel. So, back us up and tell us, how did you even get a stateroom, get invited? How did it happen?
My friend, she's my best friend. She's just like me when it comes to traveling. So that's really like all we do. And she came to me and she was like, "Let's do the Four Seasons cruise." Okay, is the only answer. So I didn't really know what to expect. Absolutely nothing. All I knew was a trip. That's all I knew. So what I got was way more than what I expected. I really didn't have any really expectation. I just knew it was a trip and I was ready for it. So that's really how that went. She kinda did everything, and so I just basically showed up, and then it just rocked my entire world.
Fantastic. Had you ever stayed in a Four Seasons hotel before?
Yes, I've stayed in the Four Seasons in Italy, and Venice is one I've stayed in, and one in Terramana in Sicily. That was amazing because as soon as you open up your doors, like, you have the Mediterranean Sea right there. So that was amazing. So I've definitely stayed in a few. I'm getting the Four Seasons and the St. Regis kinda clumbled up in my mind, but I'm trying to remember all the locations because I wanna say also Egypt, but that might have been in St. Regis though. But yes, definitely stayed in the Four Seasons.
Awesome. So, good. Maybe we'll hear some comparisons to the cruise experience to the hotel experience. So, before you even got to the ship, I'm wondering, was there anything before the cruise that made you think, "Oh, yeah, this is definitely gonna be different"?
I think that told me a lot of information is the price of the excursion. All the excursions, really. I've normally do Norwegian cruises. I'm platinum on Norwegian, so I normally do Norwegian. So, with Norwegian, you get your ticket, you meet in the theater and you get your number. So everybody, number 21, your bus is here, like that's how it normally is. Your excursion can be probably no more than $300, right? So it's a range, but normally max is about $300 for an excursion. These excursions, there was one excursion in particular that was $12,000 per person.
Yikes.
So those excursions let me know what we were walking into. So there was an excursion for 12,000, there was some for 5,000, and that's per person, So this is crazy. This is about to be a big deal. And one of the excursions that we had was our ride from the yacht to the place was a helicopter. That's how we got there. That was our transportation, was a helicopter. Prior to us getting on the helicopter, and to answer your question, how did I know? Was the excursions. That's how I knew what this was about to be.
Wow, wow. I mean, that answers one of my usual questions, which is, like, how could you tell that these excursions were different than just a regular cruise line? Definitely the price, and when we get to that portion, I definitely wanna hear about the helicopter ride excursion. That's just the start, and I'm sure that's just the start.
The $12,000 one was a private chef and something else at the Pope's summer estate.
Wow.
And that also, you had to get a helicopter to get there as well.
I'm sure. Yes.
So that was
Yeah.
another one. So
Sure.
that was the big one. So, yeah. Mhm.
And it was probably full. It was probably the first excursion to sell out.
Well, everything was really private. It was never really more than us. So if it was more people, they probably staggered it, but it always felt like it was just you and the person you were with every time.
Wow. Wow. I do like that. That sort of exclusivity. It's the exact opposite of being shuttled into the theater to be put on, given a number, and then shuttled onto the bus. So I love that. I love that. Tell us when your first walk on the ship, what was it like? What were your impressions?
Uh, so we gotta check in. So we check in, and then after we check in, the person walks us to the yacht. So they walk us on, and then they hand us off. So when they hand us off, it's a lot of handoffs. It's not just like a big bull run like on a regular cruise, like everybody
Mhm.
gets on. Absolutely not. It was a handoff. So this one person took us to the next person, and the next person took us to the next person. So we get on and we showed him the card. And we showed him the card. He greeted us by our names. And I also have a video of that as well. They greeted us by name, gave us a white towel to wipe our hands, and then immediately gave us I took champagne, so I got a champagne drink. A friend, I think she might have got a water possibly, and then they sit us down and asked us if we wanted some caviar. So they had like a big area of just like caviar as a welcome snack. And then that person who greeted us, he came, he sat us down, and then we had to wait for the lady to come and take us because she walked us to the cabin. So it's not just your cabin's ready at whatever time, go find it on your own. It was truly a one-to-one thing. So when we walked on and you got that amazing greeting. Hello, my name is. It's so nice to meet you. You're gonna have a wonderful time. Is there anything we can do for you? Would you like champagne? Would you like a mocktail? Please have a seat. And then when my colleague is ready, she'll come and get you and she'll walk you to your room. Never does that ever happen on another. So that was like amazing in its own right.
Yeah, I love that. That's real personalized service. It's not like go fend for yourself. It's like we're gonna help you, we're gonna escort you, get you to your room, make sure you don't get lost. Although,
Yeah.
is it 95 people or 95 rooms?
It was 95 rooms,
Yeah,
but it
so
was only 137 people from what they
yeah,
said.
yeah. So even with 95 rooms, it's hard to get lost, but still very
Yeah,
nice to have somebody
yeah.
escort you. So what was that room like?
Huge. So the room, I think, was 710 square feet, not including the balcony. I've seen some of the other rooms, but our room was amazing. So we had a double room, 2 beds, but it also had, like, a little lounge area, also had a little table, like, we could eat there, and the TV. So some of the other rooms that I went to kinda had bedrooms, and then so it was like a one-bedroom suite or a two-bedroom suite, and I would want my room again if I had to go back just based on the logistics of the room in total. So, like I said, the room was huge. I mean, the layout was perfect on the one that we had. The bathroom was amazing, much bigger than what you would normally get. It didn't even feel like I was on a cruise ship because of how that bathroom was. Double vanity, separate tub, separate shower. Like it was just absolutely amazing. That room was very big. My first apartment was 710 square feet. So to have a cabin, and I'm not joking, it was literally 710 square feet. That's how big my apartment was. So that's how big that room was. Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think I had mine at one point I had one that was, like, probably about that, maybe 900 square feet or but yeah, for an average balcony stateroom is, like, 210 square feet.
Yes.
That kinda size is amazing, and the balcony, I mean, I don't know if you know the square footage of the balcony, but give us an
I think it was
idea
like
of, like
114.
and what kind of furniture did they fit for you on the balcony?
You had like a couch on the balcony as well as a regular chair. So
I
you
love
could
that.
lay on the couch and read, which my friend did. She
Yeah.
read out there. And then it was a chair, but it was a little chilly, so we couldn't really enjoy the outside as much as we wanted because how kinda cold it was.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I love the idea of the couch. It just seems a little more decadent than a chaise lounge. Like even suite balconies often will have a full chaise lounge as opposed to just like a chair, which is nice. But then that couch, I don't know, it's just even one step above to me. What was the decor like? Like,
Very minimalistic and luxury, as I would like to call it. The bedding was absolutely amazing, very thick, like the duvet. I mean, everything I would probably say was in that realm of minimalistic but luxury. It looked like everything costs like $1,000,000, like everything like it cost a ton of money. And it might not have, but the way that they had it kind of laid out,
yeah.
definitely. Even the TV, I've never seen this type of TV before, but it was a translucent TV. I didn't know that even existed. And the reason why they had translucent TVs was because they said they didn't want anything to obstruct the view because the TV was right in front of the balcony. But it was kind of catty corner a little bit, not like right in front, but it was kind of catty corner. So if I'm in my bed, the TV was blocking me, but because it was translucent, it wasn't because I could see straight through it to the outside if I wanted to. Even if the TV was off, you can still see straight through it. Literally nothing is obstructing that view. And even if the TV was on, still you could see straight through it.
Wow.
They didn't want anything to obstruct it. And that's the reason why they said they have a translucent TV. Things like that was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah. And then they have almost like a china cabinet, if you will, with a lot of different like books in there, pictures in there, and everything in there you could buy. So they also had like little decor, but you could buy absolutely everything in there if you want. Well, just about every room was different when it came to what was inside of there, but it was so nice.
Awesome. I love that. I love those little things. Like, whoever even thought of a translucent TV, but that's
Oops.
absolutely perfect for a cruise ship.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And that was the biggest TV like I've ever had on a cruise ship. Normally they're pretty small, but this was probably over 50 inches.
amazing. I love the bathroom products. So, how were the bathroom products? Was it a particular brand or just you could tell that it was very well made?
It was a particular brand, but I don't remember what the brand was. I definitely did use it. I liked the soap. It smelled very good, and sometimes I did use that lotion. They had nice loofahs in there. The bathroom was heated. The floors were heated. And then the bathroom and tub was separate, but it was in the same area. So once you walk in, like you open up the door and your shower's on one side and like your tub is on the other side but it was the whole entire room was the shower. Just the bathtub was just on one side, but they had a huge bench from the whole bench covered that whole side up, but even that was heated. Like I said, so you got that little heated area that was on the bench, you got the floor was heated, like everything. They had to change the itinerary because of the weather. So because they had to change the itinerary, we weren't upset because we had to have an extra sea day. It's fine by us. No feelings hurt because of that.
Yeah, I'll just hang out right here in my room. I'm
Right,
perfectly happy.
exactly, exactly.
Love it. I love it. So let's leave the room. And
Mhm.
how was the layout of the ship in general?
L 0 complaints. I would probably say it was normal when it came to how a normal layout ship would be. It was 11 decks, but not full 11 decks. So like, the 5th floor was, like, the main deck. So, you have your pool there, you have the bar, you have the salon, and then a couple restaurants on that floor. The 6th floor, they had a few restaurants there. I don't think anything on the 7th or 8th as far as it was just, like, rooms. So, it wasn't everything on every floor like how sometimes on other ships are. It was just a couple of floors that and then, like, on the 11th floor was, like, more of a private and it's weird to say, but the best way I can describe it, it seemed like a rooftop. Even though it's all outside, but it just felt like a rooftop that was on the 11th floor. And just saying it, but that's the way it felt. Like
Yeah.
the 5th floor with the pool is still outside, but it didn't give that vibe of rooftop. But the 11th floor gave rooftop vibes. It was crazy.
I'm picturing like a bar with some really comfortable seating, like benches and the
But that's how the
couches.
5th floor was too, is what I'm saying. So that's
Hmm,
the reason why it's really crazy for even me to say it, because you have a bigger bar on the 5th floor. You have the comfy, like, cabana, even big couches, you have the even chairs, you have tables, you have all of that on the 5th floor. But on the 11th floor, you still have a bar, you still have chairs, but it just gave rooftop energy. It
Yeah.
really, really, really did. It gave rooftop energy. Maybe because it wasn't so huge, it was kind of a little bit smaller, and it still was a pool up there too, but it was much smaller than a 5th floor.
Yeah, well, I love that they're able to create different environments. It's that kind
Yes.
of a and that size of a ship. So, speaking of bars and food, tell us about the food and the different restaurants.
Now, first of all, food was not included. So you did have to pay for all of your food and drinks. But I will say breakfast was included. There were 2 places you could have breakfast, which was Terrace and Pistachio Cafe. So those are the 2 places you could have breakfast, and everything else you had to pay for. I'm a champagne girl, so I'm champagne down. So that's all I really had. And on that first maiden voyage, they were free pouring Dom Perignon, so I was heavy on the drink on the maiden voyage, like, when we first got on. But as far as the food, it wasn't like, say, a Norwegian or like a Royal where it was tons there was no buffet, first of all. So, no buffet, you ordered everything that you wanted. They had some specialty restaurants, like, they had a Japanese restaurant, and they had, like, an American restaurant, and then they had a French restaurant. There was a Michelin quality as far as the restaurants that they had, so it wasn't too much of a difference every single day, like, sometimes you expect, different options, but that wasn't it. It was kinda like the same menu every day. So, I think hopefully that does get better, but the options of food was very small.
Yeah, yeah. And that's interesting that it's not included. I mean, because usually when we think of ultra luxury, everything is included. Your Wi-Fi is included, your food is included, your beverages are included. Even for some lines, the excursions are included. And it sounds like you're really paying for the yacht and the
Everything.
room
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything else an upcharge. And how were the prices in comparison to like a restaurant on land? Did they subsidize it,
Um,
or was it sort of like, "No, this is what I would expect to pay in a Michelin quality restaurant on land too?"
I would probably say it was a normal price, so, like, I wanna say my lunch might have been, like, $60 one day. That was an appetizer, and then I got a salad, and I think that might have been like 60 bucks. And I mainly got a salad almost every day. I was trying to watch myself. So, I think it was reasonably priced as far as the restaurants. It was overpriced like some things can be because where else are you gonna get it? I do feel
Mhm.
like it was reasonably priced. Like, I have a restaurant here that I go to for salads, it's about 22 dollars and that's how much it was on the yacht as well. So, it wasn't like it was the exact same price.
Yeah, okay. Okay, because sometimes the specialty restaurants on a ship, they don't charge the same, they might charge,
No.
like, I don't know, $50 per person or something rather than what you
No,
usually
it
pay,
was pretty good. Now, I can't speak for all the restaurants because I didn't try them all, and then because we had bad weather and because we didn't get to go to one of the ports, they covered lunch for one of the days. So we did try, the French restaurant, but my friend and myself, we're not adventurers when it comes to food. We were like, "Why not?" And with the Michelin food, you get small portions.
Mhm.
So we did try it. We were hungry like 20 minutes later because it was like a piece of chicken, literally. And so what am I supposed to do with this? So, it definitely you did get that with those restaurants. But we didn't try them all. We kind of stuck with what we kind of liked every day. And then
Yeah,
the biggest thing that I loved about the ship is everybody knew your name. Everybody knew your name. People who I've never seen, never talked to, they knew me, they greeted me every single time. And it was just like, "How do you know my name? Like, I never even said anything to you." And that to me was the most amazing thing ever.
yeah,
And when it came to the excursions, like I said, you walk to the theater and then you get on your bus. But with these excursions, they come and get you from your room and then they walk you to your personal driver. And then you get in your personal Mercedes and then your Mercedes drives you to wherever you're going.
yeah, yeah, and so tell us about that helicopter. excursion. I guess your Mercedes drove you to the helicopter port or airport pad.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so they drove us to the private airport. So we had a private airport, and then the helicopter, like, came maybe 30 minutes later. He was like, "I'm your pilot for the day." And so we walked out. Of course, we took plenty of pictures, and it was a 15-minute ride. I think we were in Marseille, and this is in France, by the way. The port was Marseille, but the location that we had to go to was Provence. So it was a 15-minute helicopter ride, and it was so nice and so beautiful, just that view. And that was my 3rd time in a helicopter. The first 2 times I was terrified, but this time I just think I was overly excited where it didn't really bother me this go round. But our destination was an actual Michelin star restaurant, and it was a 10-course restaurant. And I first, again, did not know that even existed. And then also, you don't know what you're about to eat. They put the food down in front of you, and then there was a girl who every course, they would put a card down in front of you. Now, it wouldn't say, like, appetizer or dinner. It would say ducks crossing the street. It would say stuff like that to let you know, like, what you're possibly about to get. Everything, like I said, I am not adventurous when it comes to food. So this was way past my comfort zone on the foods. They had a sardine mousse. It was heavy on the what is happening here. Like they had a sardine mousse and they had a snail soup with snails at the bottom of the soup. And then every course they came to tell you how the chef came up with this meal. So, oh, the chef, he was here and he thought about this, and that's where this meal came from. And then it also came with, I think, either 6 or 8 pairings of wine also, with it. But some of the courses I was fine with, but some of them were, way above my pay grade when it came to what to eat. Like, if you have a green bean, like the peas that's inside the green bean, there was a meal where it was as if they took all of those out of the green bean and put it on your plate. Like, it was that and caviar and a
Wow.
piece of bread. So, it was way past my comfort zone, and then there was a helicopter so it was only one helipad, I'm assuming, because they have a heliport there, right? That people land there all the time to come to this restaurant because one of the waiters, like, they come and get you from the helicopter to walk you inside the restaurant. So it's not like you just get out and you just go, no. So apparently ahead of time, they let you know, "Hey, we're gonna be coming there. We're landing at this time. Please have somebody, ready waiting." So we get out, they walk us inside, we got the little view, and then, they seat us and immediate. So it was quite amazing. And then, like I said, every course, you had no idea. The food, the dessert was amazing. Like, and that really was amazing. I did eat that, which I got like 3 scoops of sorbet, but they also had another dessert which was above my pay grade that I did not eat. I didn't even attempt it. Like I said, I just can't. But I did post all of this, so, like, people laughed at me heavily because I do, as what I call it, have an unsophisticated palate. But that was just probably the most amazing thing, just to have those experiences that I've never would have thought to do, wanted to do. It was just, "All right, we're here now. Let's have at it." So, I mean, these experiences were just at most amazing.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely gonna scroll back and try and find that dinner video to see all the different courses and all the different sort of descriptions. It really sounds more than just a meal, almost like a performance
It
that they
was.
were crafting about the meal. I think they lost me with the snails at the bottom of the soup,
Oh,
but
definitely they did. They had a cheese course, and they brought out this big tray. They wheeled out the tray, and when they wheeled out that tray, you got to pick what type of cheese that you wanted. And then, of course, that came with its own, wine. And I am probably the only one in the world who doesn't like cheese. So I'll just take a little bit because I'm just not a cheese person. So, but it was so nice to see, so pretty to see. And then there was one where it was with chocolate, and they had to take like a tiny nail and a tiny hammer and break the chocolate up, scoop it, and then, like, put it on the plate, and I'm sitting here and the way that they do it does look like rock, looks like dirt. The way that they do it, it is a performance, like, that's what they want, that's what they want you to see and enjoy because you also eat with your eyes. So, it was amazing, and I'm sure I probably will never experience that again, but it was most amazing, and then the chef came out and spoke to us.
And that's why the excursions cost that much because these are not sort of your everyday, like, even for restaurants that you may have to make a reservation, 6 months in advance, like, that's next level. That's really next level. And then you took the helicopter back.
No, somebody else took the helicopter back. So this was a restaurant and there was one other couple that was there. So we got it going in, they got it going back, and there's only one helipad. So we got a scenic ride back, which is what we wanted anyway, because we wanted to be able to see the city. Because we've never been to Province before. Like we've been to France a dozen times, but not necessarily Province. So to be able to see the city from the ground was very amazing as well.
Oh, yeah, that does sound nice. Plus, after even though I'm sure it's like one bite, 10 courses, I'm sure at the end, the last thing I think I would prefer to take the helicopter there than the helicopter back just for my
Yeah.
digestion.
Right, so we got to see it from the air and the ground.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
What was the entertainment like? Like, what was going on in the evenings?
really nothing. This is a cruise where if you're looking for entertainment, I would not suggest you take it. They had one singer there, for one night, and then they had a costume designer who designs for movies. She was there talking about costumes she made, and then there was another guy who was a Broadway singer, and that's it. So this is not like trivia night or things like that or like ice skating. It's not that type of cruise. So if you're looking for entertainment, something to do 8, 9 o'clock, it's not happening.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know what to expect. What about like spa or gym?
Yeah.
How are those?
Yes, so the spa was nice, the gym was nice as well. The spa, definitely took advantage of that. The sauna was very nice because in that sauna, they had, I think it was like 3 huge windows. So as you're sitting there, sweating and you're looking out at that sea, you lose track of time. They also had an infrared sauna as well, and they had that TV while you do the infrared sauna. And then the room itself to get the whatever's, service, it was wonderful. They had a cold plunge pool as well as ice baths. So they had all of that there. Like the spa was very tranquil, very nice on the expensive side. Now that was on the expensive side. The gym was good. It was never overcrowded. It wasn't huge. It was just enough. They had weights. They had like a rower machine, they had treadmills, they even had, something for Pilates. So, I think I only have ever been in there with maybe 1 or possibly 2 other people every single time I went in
Awesome. Anything else that we left off that you would want the audience to know about Four Seasons Yacht?
there. I would probably say that was the nicest group of cruise ship workers I've ever encountered in my life. They also did not know what the word "no" meant. I did not hear it. It was a 9-day cruise. I never heard "no." Even if they probably should've, they never said it. My friend, she wanted ice cream. She wanted vanilla ice cream with chocolate syrup, and at the time where the ice cream is, it closed at 6 o'clock. It's about 9 o'clock, and she asked for it. This is where "no" would come into play. And so they were like, yeah, you would like some too?" Talking about me. And I'm like, "No, no, 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 just the one." "Okay, I'll bring back 2." And I'm like, "I don't want any." And so they brought back the ice cream, and then she says, "Well, we're gonna go see this lady sing because it starts at 9:30." She asked for it probably like 9:25. And she's like, "I'm gonna go watch the lady sing. We're gonna go to the theater." And then they were like, "We'll bring it to you." So they had the ice cream. It wasn't just 2 scoops with a chocolate fudge on it, chocolate syrup. It was like a little vanilla wafer in it, and then they had like small little cherries. Like they plated the ice. They didn't have to do all of that. And so, like, not only did she get it, but they brought it to wherever we were going to be. So it's like, no matter what. And then we went to Malta. So the cruise left from Malaga, Spain, and it was still in Spain, France, and Malta. So when we went to Malta, we went to this, I said Italy, right? I did say
Yeah.
Italy. Okay. So we went to this Italian restaurant, which was amazing. And she liked it so much that we was like, let's get some to go and take it back. So she called the people and she said, "Hey, I want to bring back some spaghetti. Or will you guys be able to heat this up for me when we get back?" And they were like, "Absolutely." That should have been a no too, right? They were like, "Absolutely." So we bring the food back, and when it was time to eat, she called them up. So they came to the room. They came and got our food. They took it, to wherever. They heated it up, put it on a nice little plate, and brought it back to us. So it's just like when no should have been said, no was never said. So
Yeah.
after that type of cruise, I don't know how I'm supposed to go back to 3,000 people on a ship when it was only 130. No one will ever know my name on a regular cruise ship. No one will walk me anywhere. I will be on a huge bus with probably 100 and something other people going to this excursion. And I was driven in the Mercedes in a helicopter with one other person. And I get emails all the time to book, and I'm like, I
Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. I don't blame you. With it being the inaugural sailing, was there anything special that they did?
um, because I don't know about after the fact that they do this on all of them, but I do know they did a nice little toast saying that this was the inaugural one. I also don't think the free flowing dom is on every one, but I know it was on ours because of it. So they did a big toast. I think that was nice. And then on the fifth floor in the grand salon, that's where they also have, I don't want to say cocktail hour, but around a certain time, everybody comes and they gather, and then they have drinks there as well. So they have a tray, well, not a tray, but like a cart, I should say. So like a cart, and they have champagne, and then they have prosecco and like a mocktail, celery juice or pineapple juice or whatever. And this is what they're expecting you. Well, which one of these do you want? Somebody was like, I would like a Manhattan. 1 second, be right back. It's just like whatever. It's whatever
Yep.
you want. And then, like I said, I'm a champagne girl, but they had a Prosecco, and the lady was like, "Oh, this is really good." And I was like, "Do you mind? Can I just taste that real quick? I just want to just taste it." So the lady, I asked her for a taste. And so she poured me a whole glass. And I was like, "No, no, 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 no." Like I'm telling her to stop. And I was like, I just wanted to taste it. She was like, "It's fine. Now you have a glass on me." I just wanted to taste it. Like, I didn't need a glass. I just wanted to taste the Prosecco to see if it was something that I wanted. But she was like, "Don't worry, I got it." And I'm like, "There's no way I could have this job. Like, I cannot smile at you 24/7, right? I cannot. I don't know how they do it, but everyone looked so happy to be there. And I would have to say, like, maybe the treatment might be a little bit different. Like, maybe, but there are like a lot of privileged on that yacht. There are different room categories as well. So, on the room that we had, there were 3 categories below ours, and
Mhm.
there were 3 categories above ours. And then there were 7 categories above those three. Okay. So the top room is on the 11th floor, and I'm going to ask you to guess how much that room is.
For the entire 9 nights, I'm gonna go with 90,000. No, I'm gonna guess again. 150,000.
Okay. So first, that 90,000 is what our room cost.
Yeah.
And on the third level
Yeah.
of what we had, there is $150,000 room, but I think that was what I said. There was 7 above. That's the first tier of the 7. So that
Uh-huh.
first tier of 7 is 150. But that last room is $350,000.
For 9 nights. Wowza. And did you get to see that room?
Just a little bit. It wasn't 100% finished yet, So you can't sit on the website, but it is huge. It is a very big room. It's like 3 floors. So it's 3 floors, and then you have an elevator, you have the whole deck is yours on for that particular room. You have the whole deck, you have your own pool. You never really have to leave, honestly. And then you have your own, like, a butler. The room that was next to ours, I think, was 150, and I did take a video of that, but for whatever reason, apparently I didn't hit the play button or the record button, so I didn't get any of it, and I am livid. That was a two-bedroom suite. So if it were 2 couples, 2 couples could share that room, and it's not a per person price, it's the entire price of the entire thing. So, if it is $100,000, you can divide that by 4 or, whatever,
Yeah,
but it's not a per person thing, it's the
that's
entire
good to
package.
know. That's really good to know. Awesome. Oh, well, thanks for sharing the prices. People always wanna know. Oh, I always wanna know, so I appreciate that, and so many people are hesitant to, but yeah, we wanna know, how much does this actually cost?
If you're paying that much for a cruise and then the food and drinks aren't included, at that point, what's the point of the drinks?
If you're able to pay that much for a cruise, you're worried about having to pay for dinner, then, yeah, it's sort of like, should you actually be on this cruise? Like,
Yeah, I do get the biggest question, just in case people are gonna ask this question, but I'll go ahead and answer it. The price that I paid for food total, I think, because we also did room service a lot as well. I think the entire price, I think I paid about 3 to $400 maybe.
in total?
Um,
For 9 days?
yeah, yeah.
That's not bad. I mean, you were eating off, I'm sure you would eat in port sometimes too, but really for 9 days, that's really not bad.
Yeah, the places that we ate and the port was also included in the excursion. So, there was a lot of Michelin restaurants that we ate at. But I think I paid about 3, 4, we'll just call it $500, but that's what it was. And I didn't really drink a lot because I was very toasted from day 1. So, I was like, "That's enough." I was throwing them back. I mean, that was just dime. How could I not? I was having an amazing time on that thing. I think that's about it. But yeah, I just don't see how I can do it again because I feel like when I get on there, I'm gonna be like, "Ugh, who are all these people?" I feel like that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
Why are
it's
they
gonna take a
here?
while. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's gonna take some time to get back to
We
that.
weren't gonna get off. We definitely looked to see how much it was to stay on. There was another couple that actually did not get off and they stayed on for the next itinerary. So it wasn't the same itinerary. So sometimes, like let's just say it's Italy, Spain, and Malta, that next one will do Malta, Italy, or Malta, Spain, and Italy. Like they'll just, back and forth,
Back to
back and forth.
yeah.
So, but this one is not. So it's literally a different excursion. I mean, a different route every time. So they left Malta and went to Greece. So it was Greece and Turkey on that next one. So my friend wanted to know how much it was. We really did not want to get off. So we were looking to see how much it was for us to stay on. Now that second selling didn't have as many people as we had on ours either. So, like, the price was really good, and so we looked at changing our flight to come back, like, how much is and we're both in the tech world, so we had our computers with us just in case anything happened, we still needed to work, so because we still had our computers, we could stay on. We could stay on indefinitely if we wanted to. So, but we didn't because, we decided we were gonna look because 'cause they're gonna have 2 more yachts come out. So it's the Four Season 1, 2, and 3, so I think she wants to wait until 2 comes out and then do one of those.
Yeah, we would love to have either one of you on to tell us about Four Seasons Yachts as well. Compare and contrast, and speaking of compare and contrast, we talked at the beginning about comparing it to the hotel. So,
Yeah,
how would you compare the Four Seasons yacht to staying at the hotel?
again, let's just say Norwegian Royal Caribbean is people would normally say that's like a floating city, right? Like, these are floating cities. The best way I could describe this is it's a floating hotel. It just felt like it was a Four Seasons hotel on water. Like, it did not feel like a floating city. It felt like I was in a hotel on the water. So the only difference I can honestly say is that the people at the hotels or everybody at the hotel, they don't know me. So they don't, greet me, but everything else was the exact same. The level of service, probably a little different again because these people don't know you, every single guest that come in that hotel because of all those rooms, right? So I think that's probably the only thing is that they don't greet you every person doesn't greet you personally because they can't. I think literally that's it. It literally felt like I was in a floating hotel,
Beautiful.
a
That
floating luxury hotel.
that is beautiful. I absolutely love that. I love that. Well, tell us what is next. Do you have any other luxury cruise or luxury travel planned?
Yes, I am always traveling. And let me ask you, if you had to guess, I just told you my life is nothing but travel. How many times a year do you think one travels? Like, how many trips do you think they take a year? Because I'm asking this because I need to know if I'm overboard or I'm normal.
So, I think that the average family of means who has a relatively high vacation budget probably travels 4 times a year. So, if you have kids around your kids' school holidays, the Christmas holiday, the spring break, once in the summer, and then maybe another trip here and there just for like a weekend or whatever. How many trips a year on average do you take?
On the low end, which is very rare, but 12.
Once a
That's
month,
about once a
at
month.
least.
But on the high end, it can be over 24. So, like 1 month in the month of May last year, I took 5 in May. So, every week I was gone somewhere. So, like, the first week, I was in LA, second week, I was in Mexico, third week, I was in Amsterdam, and fourth week, I was in San Francisco. And then well, maybe it was 4 trips that year per month. So, that's kinda how my life is. So, I did 4 in 1 month where like you just said, people do 4 in 1 year. I can't go a month without going somewhere, and
Mhm.
that's why I say on the low end, I do leave on Wednesday. So, it's like I'm always gone. The next extreme luxury cruise I'm going on, I think it's Aqua Expeditions. That is a very small that is still a luxury cruise, but it's much smaller than the Four Seasons. That one, people gonna ask about the price. I don't know the different levels, but ours is 30,000 per person on that one. One of the big, excursions she wants to do is swimming with whale sharks. So, I will not be doing that one whatsoever, but she is going to be doing that. She is my travel buddy. I am her travel buddy. And whenever I see something, and matter of fact, this is how it works with us. So I see something, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So I would be like, I want to go. So I ask her, and I don't just say, like, because I haven't been to Japan yet. And I want to go to Japan and I want to do sumo wrestling. And I want to rent a friend. There's a thing
Oh,
where you
yeah.
can rent a friend and rent a husband, right? And that's what we wanted to do. And how I ask her, and I just text her this, I said, "Can I interest you in sumo wrestling and renting a husband?" And she's like, "What's the dates?" I said, "Can I interest you in London?" And she says, "Yes." She's like, "Why, yes, you can." So I'm like, "All right, these are the dates and this is what I want to do." And then it's the reverse. But she doesn't say it to me that way. She'll say, "Are you free June 2nd through, June 10th?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "All right, well, this is where we're going." All right, let's go.
Let's
But
go.
and I think and a lot of times because like I said, we're in the tech world, so we can work anywhere. And so a lot of it, like, we'll go to whatever location and we'll just work from there because the time difference will be so big, or we can have our whole entire day and then we just work at night.
Yeah, yeah. That's the beauty of sort of being able to work virtually. Well, Joy, this has been a real joy having you. I'm sure you never heard that before. Um, but I found you on TikTok. Sounds like you've also got another channel on Instagram. I definitely want to go back and look at that dinner video. If other people want to find your content and follow your luxury travels, how can they do it?
I am Travel Bug Diva on Instagram and TikTok. So travel, TRIVLE, bug, BUG, diva, DIVA on both. I have way more on Instagram than I do on TikTok because I kinda just started with TikTok, so even the followers, I think I only have maybe 1,200, but on Instagram, I have well over 10,000.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I will definitely look for you there. And to all the listeners, thank you again for being here. I hope you enjoyed hearing about Four Seasons Yachts as much as I did. And until next time, I wish you safe and luxurious cruising.